Ladies and gentlemen, our panel, as you can see, is called Career Testimonies, Choices, Challenges, and Curiosity. I think we will have time, approximately 1.5 hours, to learn about your professional choices, about your the opportunities you got, and curiosity that was driven your choices. At the beginning, maybe a short round of questions and answers to our panelists so that we can get a little bit better with each other. Maybe we start with a short question about your academic background. Could you tell us what master studies did you graduated from? Where was it? Just a short answer to this question.
Okay, hi everyone. So I did my master's here at the Galen University, Faculty of Biochemistry, Biophysics and Biotechnology. I'm a biotechnology graduate. Then I moved on to Gulbenkian Institute in Portugal. I got my PhD in biology this time, host microbe interactions, which apparently is not a thing in Poland, so I learned when I arrived. And then, and that's my career. Thank you.
Hi everyone. So I'm also academically Krakowian, let's say. So I did my degree in psychology at Faculty of Philosophy in Krakow at Magdalena University. Then I also did my PhD there, and afterwards I got a postdoc position at the University of Tübingen. That was also within I kind of pursued the same research topics that I've been doing during my PhD, and then after 4 years there I moved to United Kingdom at Loughborough University, where I stayed for 5 years as lecturer and senior lecturer. So, and then still more or less the same areas as from the beginning. So I'm quite consistent, I guess.
Then I'm less consistent. So I did a bachelor in electronics, and then after 9 years doing electronics, I thought, no, I don't like electronics. Then a few years later, I started to work for Vitatron, a pacemaker company, and I thought, I'm the only pacemaker, so I started to study it at the Open University. I did, after 10 years, my master, met my supervisor basically, then did also my PhD while I was working at Vitatron. Then Medtronic was the founder of it, closed down Vitatron, so I started my own company, did by accident also a postdoc position in Nijmegen, where I also did my PhD. That was too slow, so I moved to the UCLA, and then basically did 2 postdocs. And now I'm here.
Yeah. I thought you were a very interesting person in this panel list. Okay. So I did my two master's degree in pure math, one in Krakow here, and one in Paris Nord in Paris. Then I spent 2 years in Hungary working at Rennie Institute, then 1 year at the Institute for Advanced Study in Princeton, and 3 years at the University of Chicago. I still do pure math, although my subdomain keeps changing. That would be okay. Thank you.
Thank you. I did my MA in political science here in Krakow, so I think I follow the path of many. And then I followed on with PhD, and I think the crucial moment was when I went out. I already went for a term during my last MA year, but then during the PhD I went for 1 year to the UK, to Cambridge University, East England University joint program, and that I think was the most important year, showing me the possibility of not only finishing PhD but also continuing research afterwards. And when I came back, I was immediately engaged. I was finishing PhD, and I got employed at the FP6 European Commission research project. And that was really the game changer in my case, because I shifted the sub-discipline into something that was way more core European studies. And that followed with a postdoc in Lund University in Sweden. And that sort of settled the path for me, at least. Thank you.
And hello, my first coach is adult education. So I'm a specialist from adult education. And my path career is very simple. Everything happened in the regional university. I finished bachelor's, master's degree and PhD in regional university. And the same time when I finished my PhD, I started to work in the regional university. And after several years, I don't remember, maybe 15, I felt that teaching is my passion, and then it was amazing for me. University let me start career like a didactic. So I had a full time in a didactic path.
Okay, thank you. Well, I think the PhD, the place where you do your PhD, is a true beginning of your academic career, academic pathway development. So maybe now focus a little bit on this step of your career. Could you please tell us where did you defend your PhD thesis? If you want, you can give us few words about the thesis, but most important for me, probably for the audience, might be the information whether you think that your PhD should be done in your mother institution, your home institution, or you advise you change anything in your career. In this respect, you advise younger colleagues to go somewhere else or stay in the same university to do PhD as they started in their master thesis. Okay, any of you would like to start?
I made my PhD or finished my PhD here at the Union. And as I already said, I think what is really important during a PhD is to start engaging with the academic community outside of your institution. And whether that is a research stay or another training, short or long term, that's really is crucial, because that's the first time really. I mean, of course, most of our students are now very MA students open to mobility, right? So they go to other institutions, Erasmus and other opportunities. But during the PhD, you go there with a purpose, right? And the purpose is to see the other institutions' sort of ways of doing things, depending on your things. That could be lab, that could be methods, whatever else, right? But this is something that is opening the eyes when it comes to the
Sorry, a short question. How would you balance? Because you pointed out that networking, building your neighborhood, centric neighborhood, is very important. How would you balance this with your engagement in topic, just your medical work?
Well, I think the most important thing to me, and I'm also speaking from the perspective of a local leader of the PhD network within the Marie Curie initiative. When our PhD students, they go for the secondments to other institutions, and we choose those institutions by the topic, right? And they also go for another secondment, which is more professional training. That's a little bit less relevant. But I think the key point is to go where you can actually get another perspective on what you're doing, right? So maybe not going to the place which is basically, your sibling institution, if you wish, but rather to go to the place which can actually open your space, put you into the challenges. But when it comes to whether doing PhD at home or abroad, I think one of the key decisions here is really not what's the best for the PhD, we can clearly see that some of our, PhD candidates, or very good MA students can go abroad. But I think the structural factors, whether they can come back to our institutions, is something that is also part of a story today, is that if you go outside for PhD, then this young person needs to really map what are the options to come back. And very often, and I think we've done, judging by the generation cohort here, we really did that in a little bit different times. But I think this calculation is still there. Is there gonna be place,
When I come
when I come back with this PhD? And I don't think that is, for most of the countries in Europe nowadays, a short position, right? Yeah, I'll stop here.
Yeah, okay. But although the mobility especially in our neighbors, with like Germany, France, or something of similar countries, are much higher at much higher level. Okay. Any other thoughts? Any of you?
Well, I never built this career, but I always went everywhere where there are people that are really good. And I think that should drive you, not just mobility. You should go to the place where really the experts in your field should be. And that's what I basically have always done. I was lucky to have really an expert by accident around the corner from the place where I worked. And that was really so my supervisor was not an easy one. By the way, I also did that in a little bit different way, because normally you have to apply for a PhD position. I just wrote my first article and I did electronics, so I was not able to write properly. So it took 16, 17 versions of the first manuscript. And then I was like, oh, I like this. So I just told him, I think I will go to do a PhD. And then he spoke the magnificent words. I was working in the research department of Vitatron, and he said, you're not a researcher. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. What am I then? We'll see. And I still finished my PhD. And I think that's what should drive your mobility. Where can I get the knowledge that grows me? Not, I can get an Erasmus grant and I can travel, which is fun. That I agree. But find the people that really teach you something. And then if you come back, well, I never came back because for me this is somewhere else. You can basically always get your science everywhere. That's my experience. Find the people that really teach you something. That's, and I'm now at the level that I can teach others, which is fun.
Okay. And have you ever considered the level of support? Support from the institution into the infrastructure, or yes.
Well, that's why I grew up completely outside the university. That's why it's for me interesting, because I basically start to learn now the infrastructure of a university. I was always in an industry. I had my own company. When I went to the UCLA, I sponsored myself. I didn't apply for a grant. I just went there because I knew there are people that are good. I can learn something, and I did. And that's basically luck. So this infrastructure, is it there? Yes, there's a lot of infrastructure. That's what I see now. But promoting the best is not always there. It's there. Like the Erasmus grants, you can always travel everywhere. Where are the best people? That's, I think, this infrastructure should focus on.
Okay, thank you. Clear point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, sure.
So I totally agree, but we should go where there is knowledge for us, but let's not forget that we are also people, right? And people have other needs beside knowledge. So I would advise also to go where the life suits you, where the culture suits you, where you can actually fit in. Because this is extremely important. We are talking PhDs, so 4 or 5 years of your life, I spent them basically at the science summer camp by the sea in Portugal. It was fantastic. It was an institute built, shaped on the EMBL in Heidelberg. They knew what they were doing, so not just a random thing. And it was fantastic. We had international guests every week. There was an international seminar. like a ton of people on sabbaticals like went through that place, and the level of exposure was amazing, right? But we are all different, right? And I definitely would understand. I also liked my Erasmus in Sweden, right? It was a totally different gig, but it also had like a lot of high points, right? Like the fact that we can be students and finish a party at 9 and everyone does their dishes and we just neatly go home. That was like mind blowing for me when I was like 22, right? So, and that was a party in Sweden in a residence, right? So I think, basically think wherever you would fit in, right? Get in touch before you commit for 5 years. Try to explore a bit. Don't just like jump head on because it is a long time. And a lot of people, both who travel and didn't, end up a bit unhappy, right? So make your choice consciously, also as a person, not only as a scientist.
Okay, but Eva, how would you say, being now a PhD student, would you do a PhD thesis at the same high quality level here in Krakow that you did in Portugal that time?
In my lab, yes. And I cannot vouch, right? I cannot speak for the whole university, but like everywhere, right? There are labs I would strongly recommend, right? And there are institutes with a very good international culture. And I suppose there are places with a bit less. So I think it's really about your microenvironment. And now, much more than when I was starting, you have the internet. You can email anyone. You can basically ask and like do your research before you commit. Right? So I would advise that to anyone. I think you can do very good PhD here. And I hope my first PhD student here will have an amazing, start to her career. But I think you can also land badly, right? So be a responsible adult and do your research beforehand.
Yeah, excellent. Any thoughts from the Dioscuri Center? And maybe at the beginning, could you, I will give you, I will pass you the microphone. At the beginning, maybe give us a little bit introduction on what the Dioscuri is. Right, so Dioscuri is kind of a copy of ERC grant, which is funded jointly by Polish and German funding agencies. National, it's Polish NCN and German EM something. They split half-half. The size of the grant is, I think let me remember. It's 1,650,000 euro for 5 years. So it's like ERC. And it's, in some aspects it's even, it has less restriction than ERC. I find myself doing almost no bureaucracy, which is very good because we have project manager who makes everything work. So, even though you hear different things about administration in Poland, I spend now less time on administration than I was spending in Chicago, which is very good. What else would you like to know? Okay, that was about the career. One more kick, maybe. Unfortunately, this grant does not exist anymore, as for now, because it was discontinued for mysterious reasons like a few years ago. And maybe there will be new editions. When they are, I urge you to apply for it. It's I think it's less competitive than ERC, and it's at least as good money as ERC. Okay, now we know a little bit more. So how about your PhD? Where did you defend your thesis? And how would you say, is it important in terms of geography, where you did it? Right, so I did my PhD in Paris. I think I didn't say that when I was introducing myself. The story is that I kind of left for a master's in Paris for not super important mathematical reasons. Basically, my girlfriend thought that it would be romantic to spend a year in Paris, so I went there. We went there together, and after masters, I decided to do a PhD. And for mathematics, Paris is very, very strong it's very strong center because you have many universities. You can take courses from each of them, so there's lots of things happening all the time in all domains, and I think it's in that aspect it might be the best place in the world. And I think it was super important for me to do my PhD there because I kind of It allowed me to explore a lot of possible research directions. I was able to find a PhD advisor who is a superstar in the field. So I kind of, okay, there was mention like that during PhD you should build your network, etc. I actually think that this should be the job of your advisor for most part, because that person has lots more connections than you. And it's kind of their job to introduce you to other researchers. Being in super active kind of place allows you also to meet more guests. You don't have to travel so much because you have strong guests every week for seminars. So you can build connections cheaply.
I'm very happy that we have diverse opinion in this panel.
And there was a question about whether I could do same PhD here.
For example,
Absolutely not. I mean, you can do the good PhD, but it's okay. It is a difference, but when you make a PhD on like top institution, and Paris is in mathematics is absolute top institution. You have few competing universities like in US and then now China, and that's it. Yeah, but other options that you find a very strong person who has a kind of good grant and can finance you and finance lots of travel, then this could also work. But this is harder, right? I think this can be harder.
okay, so I understand that for you, the driving force, the key factor is the potential of the center, as you recognize the potential of the center. Scientific.
Yeah, opportunity to do kind of research at top level.
Okay,
So it has to be happening in that place.
okay, thank you. Thank you. Any other? Maybe. Oh, okay. Łukasz.
Okay, thank you. And now I traveling a lot of, and still I try to go to the other place in the Europe, and maybe in the future not only in Europe, but during my the PhD study, I didn't travel. I remember during my last years of master degree study, one academic teacher asked me, Lucas, do you think about a PhD? And for me, boy from the little village close to Nowy Sącz, it's wow, really, I can do a PhD study, and that I think that thing changed my life, because I decided to do it, and that time I didn't want to go to the abroad. I want to research my region, people from my region. I want to do something important from that people. So I try to research how education influence on the regional development, and all 5 years I traveling through little village near Nowy Sącz, and did it. But now I can see that it's not good for me stay all time in this place, because when I started work in Jagiellonian, it wasn't easy to me. Started thinking in English, writing in English, and going abroad. A lot of my colleagues did it, but I have a big problem with it, because during PhD study, all time I spent in this place. So now I know that it wasn't good.
Okay, isn't it true that in some disciplines the mobility is more natural, and when somebody is focused on a local topic, or there is something specific for the local environment, local people, it's not even necessary to go there. Would you comment on this?
Several years ago, I thought that yes, if you research European development, you couldn't go abroad. But now I know that you should go abroad and talk about it, because it's very important. Several years ago, I didn't think like that.
So I think it's important argument for the discussion whether humanists, scientists should publish only in Polish or in more international language and environments.
I remember.
So I see you are very open for the showing our Polish culture and local experiences to wider.
I remember a lot of situation when I said to my mentor, I want write in Polish because I want that Polish people read my text. For me, it's not important that, for example, English, French, German people read my text because I write about Polish culture, Polish context. But now I know that it's wrong.
Okay,
We
that's a transformation.
Yes. We should. I think we should show these things to other people in abroad.
Okay. Mikołaj, what is your perspective? Oh, pardon.
So I would say that when I was about to start my PhD, I was extremely naive academically. I mean, there were no, or at least I was not attending any like serious professional development courses or so. So like my strategy was, when I look at it from today's perspective, it was extremely naive. I just read some papers about a certain phenomenon. I got really passionate about it, and my strategy was to just write emails to corresponding authors of these papers that I'd like to pursue PhD with them. That was, I would say, semi-successful, but some of them replied me, and this kind of, when I started doing my PhD here, I at least had some emails exchanged with some researchers in the field, and then the field was also not as established, I would say, as it is now. This numerical cognition, it was like very much scattered between psychologists, neuropsychologists, education people. There was no learned society at the time, but at the same time, with these sort of connections from the very naive emails, I learned about the conference where people doing or like working on this topic were coming, and that was, I would say, truly transformative for my development. It started as a sort of informal collaboration, some emails being exchanged, and then after I defended it, kind of opened the door that one of those professors who like kind of helped me in a sense, we collaborated before, offered a postdoc position in Germany. And also my PhD was like quite non-typical at the time. It was in 2015, and at least at the Psychology Institute, that was the first one to be defended as a cumulative one rather than the dissertation. So there was also a bit of uncertainty at the time. It was also, I think, one of the first in the entire faculty at the time. So there was quite some curiosity in the institute, let's say, how this develops. So now it looks very, very much different. And when it comes to like whether it's better to do it here or elsewhere, I'm not sure. My feeling is that it's very good and very beneficial to go abroad for a longer period, to another institution for a longer period of time. Whether this is your PhD or whether this is your postdoc, I would say that this is like a secondary thing, but at the same time, like getting some immersion in another academic culture, another institution is extremely helpful. So if your personal circumstances are not like prohibitive of going, then I think it's very good to go.
Yeah, we will focus a little bit on postdoctoral stay later on. Thank you for your thoughts. Each of you represents a little bit different situation as an employee at the university. Some of you are on permanent position, are holding permanent positions. Some of you, Peter, you are a visiting professor, am I right?
Yeah.
Guys, you work on a project, so your work is connected with the time life of the project. I'm wondering, how you get to the university? What was the recruitment procedure? Do you consider it a good experience? When the decision that you want to be involved in Jagiellonian University came, what was your story of attaching to our university? Who would like to start off? So in my case, university made a very smart strategic move and called me when I had still over a year until I have to apply for jobs. So I was in the middle of my 3-year appointment in Chicago, and a few professors from my department who knew me from my undergrad time, because I did my undergrad here, they reached out to kind of tell me that there is this grant, you can apply for it with us and see what happens. And I didn't believe I could get it, but I tried, and by some miracle it worked. And in that position I was kind of in the position where either I take this very good grant, or I say no and try to apply in US or something like this. And of course that would be risky and possibly stupid. So because this grant is really good, and I don't think to come back to Poland, this was probably the best opportunity I would have, and I always considered coming back to Poland. So that's why I decided to go to Jagiellonian University. And that's how it happened. Okay, but I didn't get it. It was a kind of competitive procedure, or you got a proposition? No, I got a proposition to apply for this grant, because this to apply for this career you had to be in partnership with a college institution, at which you're not working at the moment, because this grant forces mobility. Not necessarily, you don't have to work kind of outside of Poland, but you had to work on different institution, move with this grant to another. Okay, and getting this grant, university just opened the door and invited you. Yeah, after getting this grant, they wanted to hire me. That was a good move from the university. That was very good sense, and as far as I think they're still doing things like that, and it works. Yeah. Oh, excellent. So it was a story of getting to the university through the project doors. Okay? Yeah, timing was really important, I think. What do you mean? Because hypothetically, if they reach out to me when I already had a firm position somewhere, that would be a different story, because you are settled in and it's harder to move. If you try to reach out to people who will have to change jobs very soon, I think that they're more likely to cooperate and... Okay. Yeah, thank you. Peter, how to become a visiting professor? A serious visiting professor in the Jagiellonian University.
Especially serious. I don't know, actually.
How was it in your case?
Well, I wanted to move to Krakow for personal reasons. And I don't want to do nothing in Poland. And I was basically at the level scientifically that I knew enough to teach. So I was like, if I can get something like that. And I had already my PhD students in Utrecht, on which I have to say something, by the way, too later. But so basically it was not very difficult, and the director of the medical college just gave me this position, and that was some very smoothly. And basically that's one thing that's very important in life. You can plan everything, but I think 90% is luck.
Okay.
And we're lucky.
Yes.
Several times. We went just to Paris because it's a nice city, and then you get there. I just went to UCLA because there's an old guy and I wanted to know how he read ECGs. And a year later I had a faculty position. No clue how.
Okay. I guess luck is important, but it wouldn't be luck for you if you had not
You have to have range, you have to have
competences, and
of course.
Your competences were needed here in Collegium Medicum, I guess.
I hope so. Well, the nice thing is I bring an international world. I've traveled everywhere because I have companies. I build educational tools for the academic world. So I have a really huge network, and that I bring in basically into the world. So I bring international students. I've got PhD students in Ancona, in Utrecht, and now here, UP. So that's the part that I really bring into Krakow, which is really valued, which is way better than in Utrecht, for instance, where I could do something similar. Because then you're, how long is your career? Did you apply this? Did you do that? And here I really add something. So for me, working here is in that sense really fun.
Okay. Good, thank you. Let's remember, fun is a strong motivation. And Ewa, how was it in your case? You came back to Krakow after a PhD, after a long postdoc, and you decided to come back to Krakow with a huge grant.
Brexit. The answer to that question is Brexit. I got an ERC grant in the UK at the time when UK didn't have Horizon deal signed somehow. It was the first time ever that it happened. Somehow university was not quite aware. I found out via journalists, so that was already very strange. And then basically for 1 year, UK was scrambling to try to figure out what to do. And they were doing bad job. So I thought, like, I have to save this grant. I have to take this grant, right? It's either this or I lose an ERC grant, which, you know, they don't come by very often. So I started to look for places where I could move, and I looked exclusively into places where I've been before. So I've been into Portugal before, I worked in Berlin, I worked in the UK, which was out, obviously. And of those places, like Krakow really stepped up with the best deal for me. Yeah, lab-wise, sport-wise.
Was that tough negotiation between you and the faculty?
Tough negotiation. Well, you know, yeah, I don't know, you know, just keep having fun, I would say. I could go elsewhere, right? And they already had employees. So I don't think we were very stressed. I hope we were not. I hope it was a, you know, friendly negotiation, not like knives and... I don't do tough negotiations, right? But I know what I want as well. So I said what I want. They said, maybe. And after a while, they were like, okay. So we made the deal, right?
Okay, so what are the basic expectations of a young people who is holding such an important grant as ERC?
For support from the university, you mean?
Yeah. I mean, what university should give you to make you choose the university?
Okay, so they should give you a startup fund, right? I run a lab, I need a lot of lab equipment and stuff. They should provide...
Was it a new equipment or?
Yes, a lot of...
Especially bought for you?
Yes, exactly. I don't know if I can say that. I didn't sign any NDA, so I'm gonna. So I got 1 million zlotys for like startup costs. I get 50,000 a year for project promotion, which is basically the money I use to invite international guests and to make my people travel much more than the ERC can afford. I got a lab manager as well, which basically amounts to me doing less bureaucracy than in Liverpool, right? Again.
So basically, I don't know whether our audience is aware of this, but this is a general policy of our university that ERC holder got support from the university, a certain amount of money. It's 1 million is something that is given at the beginning, and the support from the administration. That's really a policy of our university.
Okay, so I didn't break any laws. I said, what I do feel supported. I feel like people are trying to help as well. I think that is also very important. So both at the stage of negotiations, it was not just like, whatever. It was, people are trying, and I really appreciate, university administration, all the people I have to, make business with, for the effort.
Okay.
So to make me feel welcome. I do feel welcome. Thank you.
Okay. We are happy to have you here. Okay. Any other comments?
So on the Mac, when I finished my PhD, my home institute got EU funding for research project. And it was, I think, 2 months between me defending PhD and the opening of a position of a postdoc within the project, and I got it. So I started working on slightly different days, but within the home institution. And then towards the end of the project, I was moved to the more sort of regular adjunct position at the university. But it started with a project. And since then, I'm trying to pay back that debt, and I'm still applying for projects and bringing them to my institution, because I think this is really the way to bring the new blood to the institutions, is to open for postdocs. I was saving this comment for later, but I think that's one of the challenges, is to really make a space for new people to come, but also make sure that we can actually have a place for them later. So many stories I know from my projects when we need to say goodbye to postdocs because there is no positions open, and then we send them, and then we see them thriving wonderfully in our institutions, and you always wonder they could stay, right? And I think this is something that is one of the biggest challenges when it comes to the employment policy, is to sort of, the projects are short. They are 3 years, 4 years, maybe a little bit longer, but I think less so and less so. They tend to be shorter and shorter rather than longer. And it means that you bring people, you know, you invest in them. But of course, they bring sometimes money and stuff, but you invest in them and then you let them go. Of course, I know that's the thing, but I think there should be also reflection on this, how to make sure that we can keep them as much as possible, and of course, applying to those who want to stay.
I think this is a true challenge, and this is extremely difficult to combine those two paths, because the rate, the circulation of the time of a project is a completely different time scale than the natural rotation in the university, and that makes a problem. And there will never be enough seats for the good postdocs and for interns and so on. So I agree, this is really a big challenge. Any of you who would like to comment on the recruitment starting working at the university?
Shortly, like I said, my some career was very simply, because after my PhD I started to work in a university. My mentor said to me, "Łukasz, you should stay in a university." It was a time when I told about after PhD started to find a job in another place, because my family thought about remove to other part of Poland. But when my mentor said, "Łukasz, we have a place for you," I decided to stay, because that time at the university for me was a very good place to work, to have a career, and I think that it was good decision.
Okay, so I guess it was not a very competitive moment in your life, because there was a place for you at the moment.
Yes. But what is more important, and it was so, I think it was fun when I saw my first salary. I thought, I should started to do more things, and very quickly, I remember it was November. So my first month of work in university, I found the grant. It's a kind of grant combine business and university, and I started special research from business to business. So during, I think, 3 or 4 years, I had 2 salaries from university and from the grant. And then I understood that everything is depend for me, for my work, for my ideas, and still, still I think the same.
Okay. Krzysztof, I think you are the ideal panelist to comment on this, on procedures at the university, how to become an employee at the Jagiellonian University. Krzysztof has just started. He is attached at the university in October this year.
Yes. Okay, but like I think before that, I should rather comment a bit on a kind of luck in a role of luck in academic careers. So I mentioned that the field when I was starting, it was still not very well established. There was no society which was like devoted to this topic and so on and so forth. And then I had 3.5 years of postdoc already. So I was sort of eligible to apply for permanent position. I could stay as a postdoc, but it would be also a little bit of a blind alley in a sense that if you are too long, it's also becoming harder and harder to get into a permanent academic position. And now, and then all of the sudden, so I was doing mathematical cognition, and then all of a sudden, the Loughborough University got funding for like I think £5 million to establish, listen carefully, Center for Mathematical Cognition. And there were 10 openings for permanent positions at the time. Had this happened 3 years before, no chance that I would be anyhow eligible because the experience would be so short. Had it happened 5 years later, I might have been already out of science because the postdoc expires and there is like no option to go any further. So the timing was perfect. Luck. That was absolute luck. I had absolutely no involvement in the colleagues in Loughborough getting this grant or anything like that. It was just like pure luck, and it was probably the biggest pool of numerical or mathematical cognition positions to be ever opened. I mean, like 10 positions in a relatively niche field is something really uncommon. So I applied, I got this position, and this also, I would say, strengthened my prospects of getting either a permanent position elsewhere or just staying there, because that's at least how I've been taught, that if you already land in permanent position, it's way easier to either change or upgrade or so than to get the first one. So the biggest hurdle was already kind of passed because of the big wave of recruitment and being successful there. And after some years, I was collaborating with my now co-lead of the Mathematical Cognition and Learning Lab, Professor Mateusz Chochol. And he was trying to convince me to come back and that there would be a position and I should apply. And I was quite open, to be fair, with the UK situation. I mean, I was not seeking to kind of get out from there for any specific reason. I was also not bound anyhow to that place. So I just kept things open, and when the opportunity was there that there might be a position in Krakow that would be an option for me, I decided that I would go for it, and yeah, that's how I'm here.
Okay, thank you. For who of you, a postdoc fellowship was a game changer? In other words, how important is it? And again, should we all go abroad? It should be an obligatory point in our curriculum, or it's rather for selected people, selected based on their way of treating the career or personal choices. Marta, you did your PhD, your postdoc in Sweden.
Thank you. Yes, I taught in Lund University, and it took me some time to get it, actually, because I was project-based employed. I switched my interest from PhD towards new areas just after PhD within this project. So it wasn't really the easiest to get my postdoc, and my way to my postdoc was actually going through a research stay. I went to Oslo University, to Arena Center for European Studies, for a research stay of, I think, 4 or 5 months, funded by so-called Norwegian grants, which is a special financial scheme for the the countries. And then there they tell me you just need to, how really they helped me to get my mind around how to get the postdoc. And I got it in not that far from Oslo, in Lund, also in Center for European Studies. And it was really very important. I think it was important in many, many ways. It was the first time I was really settling for a longer period of time in a different institution than the Jagiellonian University, not just a kind of temporary research stay or a student stay during my PhD, but as an employee. From relations with trade unions in Sweden, it's very interesting experience. Getting interested in the international scholars that are staying way longer than the rest of the people in the offices and asking, like, are you okay, right? Something that here wouldn't even, maybe now, but back then wasn't really a tradition. To new scholars, but also to the fact that my condition for PhD was to apply for Horizon project. So what I had to give back to Lund was to write an application with my colleagues, and I've learned how to do it. And that was also the game changer, because I got so much training there, how to apply, what to think about, what's really interdisciplinary research. After my postdoc there, I already had a contact with a group, and we applied for a project at Lund University at the Pufendorf Institute. I don't know if any of you have heard about it. It's really quite an interesting idea, and it's the in-house institution that is financing projects that are interdisciplinary, but also very risky. So we applied with a project of hydro solidarity with engineers, theologians, areas scholars from Africa, called scientists as myself, IR scholars, and we got it. And I spent longer in Lund working at the Pufendorf Institute as well, completely changing my idea what really is interdisciplinary. Because up until this moment, interdisciplinary was for me like, my IR colleague and me, political scientists, just changing ideas. But then starting to work with engineers was like, oh my God, this really is very different. And yet you still can start discussing things, and someone who has a very different perspective value your opinion. And you are like, wow, that's really is amazing. And I think with this experience coming back brought me to the point when I am applying for projects. I have several of the projects at the moment, but also, I'm always trying to invite people from other disciplines. I mean, within the horizons, maybe we don't go the Pufendorf way to go too far, but I think this is really something that is, breaking these barriers with scholars from a very different, both, in terms of epistemological and ontological categories, right? And start working with them. This is super fun to go back to the position, and it actually gives you more kind of energy.
And this interdisciplinarity does not lead only to discussion, but also to important results.
Yes.
That's important. Okay, any of you positive comments on your positive experiences on your postdoc fellowships?
Well, experiences, but I feel like now is a good moment to say. So for me, my first postdoc was like shocking. It was humbling. It was not actually like uplifting. And after 5 years in PhD, right, I was basically running a lab. I knew everything. And then off I go from Portugal to Berlin. And I figured out, right, first week, moving from like fruit flies to mosquitoes, I thought they should be quite similar. They are not, right? I met PhD students that knew way more about system and what we are doing here. And I was like, wow, people are smart here, huh? I should maybe level up a bit. So for me, it was it was a humbling moment, my first postdoc. But yes, the exposure every time you move, the exposure you get to new ideas, new things, is, you cannot match it by staying in the same place, and you never will. But it's not always, super amazing. You have to, every time you move, you have to find a supermarket, a doctor, your way around the place. You have to figure out who is a nice person and who is not your friend, maybe. Right? So it is quite, it can be tough, right? It is definitely lets you grow, but it's not all unicorns and rainbows out there. So watch out.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just to add to this, the first thing you experience, at least for me, was that you need to have a place to live. That is, you need to rent a flat. To rent a flat, you need to give the bank account. But imagine, to get a bank account, what do you need? So, and you only realize those weird loopholes that, let's say, the traditional Polish creativity can overcome somehow. But not always there is like a clear and straightforward official way of doing this. And you need an internet, but to get an internet you need both bank account and address. So there is like lots of such things. So absolutely not only unicorns, not only rainbows, transporting IKEA furniture. I think I deserve already a degree in like IKEA furniture assembly, and because of those movings. Yes, but at the same time, it's very transformative in life. It kind of pushes you out of comfort zone, both like kind of life-wise and academically. You learn lots of things. It's not always easy, but I think it's really hard to match.
Okay, what would you do if you realize quickly, let's say after 1 month, that your choice was terrible, that you are in a not very good place for your future career, for any reason? What would be the solution? Yeah, Peter.
Carry on.
Yeah. Okay, you would carry on.
That's what I always did in life.
Okay.
You can say, that's why. But I never did something for a career, actually.
Okay, but you feel that you will waste your time.
Yeah. Look, if you're going that way, then basically we live 80 years. That's a waste of time anyhow. So, where do you go? No, you do something you like. That's my driving. I want to know and I want to learn something. If I learn something, even if it's bad, then I learn something.
Okay, always thinking positive.
And that's a little bit, I think, because we're sitting here and most of these people here made it somehow or found a path up. But you cannot think that every student here at this university is capable of communicating. Look, I like dangerous or uncertain situations. If it sounds, there's uncertain, that's where I go. Let's see if I can get out. That's fine. But you cannot expect that from every student. So some students should go abroad because they have to get the people in, but you do not need that from every student. And basically your supervisor should bring you the contacts. If 10% of your students bring these contacts here, that's enough. The other 90 can just do their job here because there's still a lot of work to do. Don't overestimate always these success stories. I'm not average in that. So let's think also about the career that we can just stay in Poland and do that and let other people bring these people and get them out of the comfort zone. But because that's still important, I think.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. You are keeping the door open always, not closing them. Okay, you mentioned students. And so there is important question now. How to combine research and teaching, how to deal with students. Are you personally involved in teaching? These are your duties, or you do it maybe for fun? What are your obligations?
And I started, I never was teaching. I'm teaching now, but I developed, for instance, academic software for teaching. I worked most of my life in companies, basically. You always think when you work with people in the universities, like, the academic, the industry is just making products. Basically, I did more research than my supervisor. And I just said, this project takes me 9 months, and then I did it in 3, and then the other 6 I could do something else. That was luck again, because I had a boss that accepted that. But I really had more research time in an industry than what you have in a university, because 50% you have to teach. In fact, it's often 70, and then you have to do your research in this last 30%. That's why I still like to have my own company, then I support myself, then I can do 80% research and I teach 20. So I'm sometimes really sorry for all these academics that have to teach life.
Okay, Mikołaj, how is it in your case? You have some teaching obligations? So I don't have obligations, but I can teach, and I did teach last year. Not a lot, but I taught 1 graduate course, and I supervised 2 master students and 3 undergrads who are kind of in some mentorship program. So I like teaching. I kind of an energy vampire. I like enthusiastic young people, so I can get enthusiastic myself. This year I'm not teaching because I have a small baby, so I have enough time to spend on that. You can combine. I think it's good to combine some teaching and with research, because first of all, it's necessary to kind of teach the next generation, and also it's good for your research, I think, to have this kind of interaction.
It's refreshing.
Yeah, it's refreshing, and also kind of makes you feel. I mean, I do very theoretical things, so I sometimes feel that what I do is useless, but the teaching is definitely not useless. It's real value, and I like that.
Okay. Who of you would cherish 100% science? No students, I mean, maybe students in laboratory, but no teaching.
Can I? So I do also teach 20% of the time, right? And I asked for this when I was moving here because I like teaching. I enjoyed interactions with students, but I feel what is killing my teaching joy here is the word pensum. I don't know how to say that in English, but it is a scary word, meaning that I have to teach certain amounts of hours or bad things will happen to me. And yes, that's what it means. And basically I like to teach the things I know, and the word pensum often means that we teach things that need to be taught now. So I think Polish academia would really benefit from some maybe more flexible approach to this pensum thing, or just like banish that word altogether, because it just makes people stressed out. It makes them prefer lectures they'll never benefit from. We can do it. I can teach anything basically, yes, but that's not the point, right? That's not fun, and that's so I think it's important to have this discussion.
Okay. Marta, Łukasz, you are both having permanent positions, so you do have your pensum and you have to fulfill the hours of your teaching. How do you do this? Is it important? Is it it's something new for you, or something that you would resign?
I think for some classes, if you wake me up in the middle of night, I would still and ask me to, keep going, I would. Probably quite easily, because I'm teaching for 20 years, mostly the same courses. They, of course, are not the same, because I would then go, probably off a little bit. But, this is something that comes with time, is that, you can do that with a little bit less preparations than you've done it in the first couple of years. So that helps a little bit. But it isn't, if you have, like I do, I lead at the moment 2 Horizon projects. One was over last end of September, and one doctoral network, plus some smaller projects. And you have full teaching, and I teach also in English. This is a bear game. I mean, the amount of pensum that you get off your amount for research projects is not in any way corresponding to how much work you do for the projects. So that this is just a kind of symbolic price you get. It's a little bit less, but I agree with you. I mean, the energy kind of vampiring, I don't know if that's a verb, on students is something that's really important. I do teach a lot of research related issues, and that's really super good to have the students. What worries me now is the AI, and it's not in a usual way. What worries me from a teacher perspective is that I switched this year into only essays written in the classroom with students that are having very little handwriting experience. We are entering a very, very dangerous terrain. And I have some ideas that I will run against my colleagues at the faculty, how to do it. Because, reading 80 essays written in class, I think, someone should clone me, I guess, for doing, because you cannot read it fast, right? You can read 3 in computer, you read more at once. So this kind of things are really terrifying for me. But just to finish, when I got last year, we have a wonderful competition at the faculties. I don't know if you know that students they make a competition for the mentors. They select some mentors and there is a voting. And I got selected last year as one of mentors, so they proposed those candidates. I never won. My wonderful colleague, who is really a kind of teaching beast, won the competition. But the fact that students chose me as a mentor, that was really, I think, higher price than sometimes receiving a research funding. Because, research funding, that's gonna bring you into specific point. But this was really something very uplifting for me, that they still think that after this many years, I can still have this energy to give them something. And the mentoring is something that I think should be also brought together with teaching with us, is that this is not something that should be, separated. Teaching is one thing. I know it's an obligation. Sometimes you teach stuff that you really, if you have an option, choose not to. But there's this mentoring, right? This individual connection with the students. This really is something that we should do.
Yeah, we have it at the university, mentoring and tutoring programs with the Excellence Initiative. It appeared a few years ago in a more formal way, and this is really a good thing. Łukasz, I feel that you are, among us, you are most attached to the idea of teaching.
Teaching is my passion. I love teaching. Teaching drives me. I love students. I work with them. With I use method gamification, tutoring, mentoring, outdoor education. For example, we go to the mountain with students, and all course we have in the mountain. Wow, it's amazing that I can only teach, because several years ago. It was another situation. I mean, 4 or 5 years ago, I understood that I'm not the type of research. I love teaching, and I wanted to do it. And that time, this is only one moment during my whole career that I thought maybe I should change my job and start to do something else, because I'm not a researcher. Okay, I can write papers, but teaching was more important for me. And then wow, it's amazing for me. I started work only like an academic teacher. I only teach. And for me, it's very important that we have that possibilities. I often teach other academic teacher how to be a better teacher. I teach about active methods, tutoring, mentoring, PBL, gamification, AI in didactic too. And I do it in the Jagiellonian, and I do it in the other university in Poland too. and I met a lot of people who are very good researcher, and they said teaching is a wasting of time. But I met a lot of people who are very good teachers, and they said making papers, research is wasting time. And fortunately, I met a third group, people who can combine. So I think that it's connected. It's dependent for you. There is people who can combine this, but there is people who should be only teacher or only researcher. And this document which you sent us,
We will read it soon so that the audience will know what we are talking about.
yes, there are three paths: researcher paths, combine researcher and teaching, and only teaching paths. And for me, it's excellent.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let's put teaching a little bit aside. And have you identified now, in the present days, your biggest challenge as a scientist of the Jagiellonian University? I mean, the challenge that not only that something has to be overcome, but maybe it's also a good point, something that that motivates you even more than before. So any challenges in your present career?
Can I?
Yeah, sure.
I have a microphone. It's funny because when I worked like only teacher, now I had a lot of energy, and really I started to think about prepare, for example, papers about didactic and education, and I think about research in the didactic. I think that this is something important now for me. Start to prepare papers, research, and I hope for, I don't know, but not a lot of time. I want to be a university professor in the path of teacher.
Okay.
So this is my challenge now.
Okay, thank you. Peter.
My challenge is basically now to build a research group on electrocardiographic imaging. And
Here in Krakow.
yeah, that's what I want to go for.
There's no any right now.
No, there are, but look, worldwide there may be 1,000 researchers on this subject, so that's why I have to travel anyhow the world. So try to get that here now, and I think I will manage.
Okay, and is it more organizational kind of work, or rather gathering people who are skillful and with competences?
Well, first there's me, that helps, that attracts already people, and then from there I take it, something like that.
Okay.
And after that for a PhD student, which by the way is it, can I briefly, because I had 3 PhD students in Utrecht. They get paid at a salary, they can work full-time just on their PhD. They don't have doctoral classes, none of that. They just focus on doing research on that one subject. They collect patients, they collect data from the patients, they develop algorithms, they write papers, that's it. And now I had an Opus grant, I'm like, oh, now I get a PhD student, that's what I was used to. No, you have to get money in the doctoral school, otherwise he does not have enough money. Luckily, I got a doctoral student in, I didn't know that I had to do that, but within 2 months I had one. But that kind of stuff, like, probably luck, but I step in and then we'll see how we get there. But getting students in Poland is different than in the Netherlands, let's put it that way. I got a grant, then this is the money, and they can live with it. And here you have to basically have 2 grants, or a doctoral school and a grant, otherwise I want a student that works full-time on my project, otherwise I know how industry pulls.
Okay. Krzysztof, what is your challenge?
Yeah, well, like so far, let's say my experience of Jagiellonian from the 1st of October is very limited, but like during the discussions about coming back here and so on, one of the challenges and one of the kind of parts of the vision that I should be contributing to was like internationalization. So to bring, yeah, we discussed, okay, it's nice to send some PhD students here, there, that they get their experience, that they do postdocs or so, but the other thing that we would like to do is also to be a place that others want to come, that they want to like work with us, to learn something, to contribute to the university, and so on. So that's the challenge. I was somehow again lucky in a sense that I got a PhD student from Italy who wanted to visit me in the UK, and when the situation here unraveled that I would be moving now, he happily accepted to visit rather here than in Loughborough. I can report that he quite enjoys żurek and pierogi, so the beginnings were very successful, and he's doing also great job professionally. So yeah, I guess the challenge would be to get more of these. Probably not only within the Copernicus Center, but a university-wide, to be a place where others want to come and learn.
Okay. And Eva, is your challenge connected with your project or is something else?
My challenge, as always, is connected with my life. So I'm over half a year now through my project, right? My employment here is tied to my project. So in 2 years, I'm open, right, for positions, if anyone has any suggestion. So yeah, I think this is about the time in my project in my life that I have to figure out what's next, right? So I'm doing all the obvious, applying for grants and stuff. But it is always a bit stressful and challenging, right? That we always have to plan. You're never kind of safe, right? You always have to plan your next steps. So that is the biggest challenge, and that's throughout. That's since my master's. That's always been what do I want next?
Okay, are you considering staying at the university or?
Is that an employment offer, or we are just cutting?
Unfortunately, our rector left, so.
Yes, exactly, right?
Or maybe luckily, and I can promise you anything.
Yeah, well, I'm open definitely to negotiations, right? But for now, my contract finishes the end of 27, right? So I will have to figure it out soon.
Okay, thank you. Mikołaj?
Yeah, so actually, conditions here are very good for me, so I had to think hard about challenges. But I'd say that maybe securing PhD students it is challenging because we have lots of talented students, and it's quite competitive to get them to do PhD with you. Many of our students, they go to top institutions for PhD, and it's still a bit difficult to attract people from abroad to do a PhD. I mean, it's changing. It's getting better and better, but still, you often get the PhD student through an interview. They're almost ready to sign a deal, and then they go to, I don't know, Max Planck or Oxford or something like this. Other thing is securing good outcomes for my postdocs, because the job market right now is absolute bloodbath. And I have very good people. I love them to stay in academia, and sometimes it's hard to kind of arrange a timing so that they can. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, that's enough. Challenges. Magda, what?
Yeah, I will second what Mikołaj said at the end. I think for me, one of the biggest challenges that I already signaled is personal. I mean, retaining the personnel that you hire and finding places for them. And I think the short-lived projects and a lot of the employment project base in the early phases of career, it's really difficult. We have already studies that are showing that mobility is wonderful, but it comes with the costs. It comes with a lot of costs for family life, for your psychological well-being. It already is visible for students at the MA level. I don't know how many people did research on the PhD students and postdocs, but this is difficult, and we are here as an institution that should take this into account and kind of do as much as possible. So things such as bridge financing for projects, just to give you a little bit of a money towards, keeping those people for a little bit longer, whether you are searching for additional money. But the second thing, then I'll need to say it, for me as a PI of many projects at the same time and permanently employed, one of the biggest challenges is administration. And I envy Mikołaj when he says, I have a, project officer, he or she does most of my stuff. Well, that's wonderful, but the higher you come, the more projects you have, a lot of things you need to do yourself. No matter how wonderful I have a team of administrators with me, and I can assure you that my team of administrators is really very capable and wonderful, still, I need to do so many things. And I'm thinking that's basically one publication a quarter of a year that goes to administration rather than to publishing house, at least, right? Because this is this much time that could take me, up to 4 articles a year, I think, or maybe I'm over, maybe 2 or 3, but still a lot. And I think that is a challenge, and we need to think about it in some systematic way. And I know we do, but it takes time. But that is, and I think this also comes a little bit higher you go, the more of this stuff you need to do. Right? And I think this is also something that a lot of people need to know, that at some point you are facing this and you need to deal with it.
Yeah, I very much agree with you. We left, let's say, with 10 minutes. I would like to move to the screen and show you what Łukasz mentioned. We have an official document at our university. Okay. The document is called Academic Career Pathways, and it describes, let's say, 3 official pathways that can be realized that are present in our university. This is connected with the act of law. University can organize it in self-way, but this is somehow connected with the law. So in our university we have so-called research paths, the second one teaching and research path, and the third one, so the second one is a combination of teaching and research, and the third one only teaching path. The one which is best liked by Łukasz, so far as I understood. The symbols, the arrows shows you the movement between the paths, horizontal, vertical movement. So you see you can promote, but you can also change at the same level between the paths. Everything depends on your decision, on your ability, on your present state, on your evaluation. The academic career development is divided into stages as a normal development of each of us. Early stage researcher, then a recognized researcher, established researcher, and finally leading researcher. And all of those stages can be somehow placed on those academic paths. So as an example, I show you here the activities for the first path, the one which is connected with the research. So the enumeration goes here: research achievements, contribution to the development of research, activity in the research community, and there are a lot of activities that should be done at a certain level of your development. Research collaboration and mobility, raising funds for research, commitment to the development of research staff, and all of those similar activities are defined for each of the group, each of the research or work pathway at the university. The activities are here. So you see the activities connected only with research, activities connected only with teaching, and activities connected with the
external and internal environment. So, and in this chart, you see where the activities are placed, what should be present in your work, daily work, so that you feel you are doing well on this particular path. So this graph already shows us that the group of teaching and research staff is very crowded, maybe not crowded, but there is a lot of work for this group. So my basic question is whether you agree that such a division into those three paths is correct. You think it's helpful for young people or more developed people? Are there any emerging changes, something that must be changed, something that must be done quickly? And whether you add some path here or it's enough, that the model is enough complex, or maybe it's too much involved? Who would like to start? But very quick comments on this.
Yes, so just very quick. This kind of maps quite well to how this looked like at the university where I worked before. So this was not about like maybe academic development, but about like promotion. So like you could choose the pathway you want to get to get to your next academic stage, either via the research path or generic path, or the teaching path. Maybe it is like research only was not so pronounced because you still had to do some teaching and show that you're doing relatively decent job, but there was this distinction too.
One of the things is that I always miss, and I always hear in universities, is we have to have patterns. And this is, I know that universities love to write patterns. I don't think they're very well equipped for it, but when I was working for Vitapon, I had to write 3 patent ideas at least a year. So I know how to write patterns. It's not anywhere. So we want to have, as a kind of social outcome as a university, ideas that can be used. It's not, is it part of research? Is it part of teaching? That part I'm
mostly patenting is evaluated for the teaching pathway. Apart from the publications, it is expected to include it in this teaching. In this research pathway. Correct. As you said, whether we are well prepared for this patenting or not,
I think that's basically, you need an expensive, good patent lawyer, and what I see is that in the universities, researchers have to write patents and they have no clue how to write a patent. It's completely different than writing an article. For me, an article is way more work than a patent.
I can only say that Faculty of Chemistry is a leader in producing patents at our university. Okay, any of you? Marta?
I just have one comment that is coming to also the kind of long-term strategic structural changes that we are facing. The one is that the number of students is decreasing, so a lot of our thinking, I guess, now is coming to that this core model, which is combining teaching and research, should be way more flexible than it is right now at the Jagiellonian University. I think this is something that should be, because of course the research path, it's wonderful, but it's mostly project-based. I mean, there are some other options, but in Polish context, at the public university, the research only position is mostly project-based. But the people that are in the middle group, they should have more flexibility, kind of reacting to both the needs to do research and then maybe suspending teaching for a little bit, or flexing the pensum issue. While on the teaching side, one of the things that we find with our students is that they really are currently more and more, when the student sits in front of you and you teach them, in many instances, they just check with AI whether you say true. Right? This is quite interesting, but this happens all the time. Is that students are having open stuff and they say check almost live, kind of specifically in social science. And one of the things they cannot check with AI is I'm telling them, listen, we do this research, right? It's not even published. We have this new findings, insights, and stuff. So the research-oriented teaching is something that we really need to invest more. Whether that can be combined with the third path is, I think, again, the flexibility question, right? But I think this is something they can really learn, particularly older cohorts of students, is that when you do research, you have some specific, unique opportunities to teach them and prepare them for the, let's hope, still valid, research-based society, right? Or kind of paradigm in society.
Okay. Any of you would like to comment on this shortly, Łukasz?
Probably. I think it's a good proposition for us, but what is more important, that possibilities to change paths. I mean, people who, for example, stay only academic teachers can change this path to be a researcher, for example. And in the other side, researchers can decide to be academic teachers. And I think this flexible, horizontal and vertical is very important.
Okay, very good. And really the final statement from you. I would ask for one word statement as an answer to this question. Are you satisfied with being a part of Jagiellonian University now at the moment, having all the experiences you had so far?
Can you ask for the camera to be switched on?
Just one word, anywhere.
I'm happy.
Happy after 1 week. 2 weeks, yeah.
Happy? Yes, I'm happy, but a little bit tired.
I'm happy. Yeah.
Happy, but ask me in June.
I still feel passion.
Okay. Okay, guys, thank you very much for this wonderful meeting. I have feeling that we spent a nice time, and I hope that our audience can learn a little bit from our discussion. Thank you again, and good luck in what you are doing at the Jagiellonian University. Good luck.